My name is Vinay Kumar and I'm working with the different data browsing technologies like SAP BW, SAP BODS, ClickView and SAP ABAP. So regarding the training, I have been into this training environment in the last 3 years. So very good training experience. Course training. So let me tell you the highlights of our training. So I'm a real-time industry experience trainer. So close to 8 years experience with the BWBA. So 2 implementation, end-to-end implementation projects and 2 support projects. Currently also I am associated with an organization where I am working as supporting lead for a team size of 10 people. Okay. So here in our training also, whatever the topics we are going to cover or whatever the practical scenarios we are going to explain you, so those things I will be picking up one of the example from my real-time scenarios and explaining the same thing in our real-time in our training scenario. So the advantage which you would be getting over here is instead of working with some dummy examples like employee, salary, department, sales, all these kind of things, I am taking one of the real-time example, right? So when you go for any kind of interview or when you want to practice, so you can practice the same thing and you would feel like as if you are taking an example from a you got a real-time requirement and you are working on it. Okay, so that would be the great advantage. And every day the classes would be conducting using this GoToMeeting or GoToMeeting webinar tool itself. So the advantage of this reporting recorder, this tool is, as you are aware today, I was able to interact with you without any issues. Okay, and you have the advantage of recording. So every day the sessions will be recorded. So if more than some good amount of students are there, we'll record by ourselves and send it to a later point of time. If one or more students are there, then we'll guide you to how to do the recording. So you can record it by yourself and save your folder. So the advantage of this recording is during my practical scenarios, okay, during the exercise, when I define the exercises in the system, it would be very easy for you to understand, no problem. But when it comes you guys to practice, definitely you miss some other thing. Why? Because this SAP BW is a GUI based tool. So lots of options are available over here. So when I teach, it's okay. But when you do the practice by yourself, you definitely miss one or other way. So when you've gone over when you miss the way, then what you can do? Open the recording, see the recording, and just find out at what option Vinay was clicking on, and later on you can happily continue with our training with your practical scenarios. Otherwise, you need to wait for the next 24 hours for the next session to happen and contact the trainer. And the other advantage of this recording is and according to the student requirements, we will be conducting the normal track, weekend track, and fast track classes according to the student convenience. It's up to you how okay. And this one I already told you, the student will provide recording sessions. And as part of our training, we'll give you some good amount of material also with respect to the BWBA course. Okay, so this is how your material will look like. So for every student, I would be sharing this entire material. So material, okay, so close to 2 GB of material with respect to every topic of the BWBA. So in our training, most of the time I would be covering the practical scenarios because theoretical information you can get from anywhere. We have Google, we have Bing, search engines, lots of sources are there. But when it comes to practical, nobody would be sharing the practical scenarios. That's the reason most of the time I would be focusing on the practical scenarios. And once a topic is done, I'll ask you, hi, today I'm done with the concept called the data store object. For example, open the folder. So today I'm done with this data store object, and the topic was standard DSO. So you can get the theoretical information from over. So I'm not the author of these documents. I got it from SAP only. But you know, these documents are very well drafted in such a manner so that all the theoretical information plus the practical information you can just go through. Once you go through, you can happily understand it. So once the class is completed, then whatever the existing knowledge you have, whatever the topics you have covered with respect to the respect to standard DSO, if you come and see this theoretical document, then you can happily enhance your knowledge. Okay, so very beautiful document. So like this, each and every topic you will be having the respective material. So I will be sharing with you when we start the classes. Okay. So this is about a small bit highlight of our training. Let me tell you what we are going to cover as part of the course. So actually there's a lot of confusion usually. What is the SAP BW and what is this BW BI? Okay, am I learning BW or BI? What am I learning actually? So in order to remove the confusion, SAP BW or BI or BIW, all are one and the same. BW stands for Business Warehouse, BI stands for Business Intelligence, BIW, Business Information Warehouse. Okay, so if somebody asks what are you studying, either of the words you can use. Okay, so different organizations would be using different, and SAP is mainly responsible for the confusion. Okay, why? Because when initially SAP released the product, it named the product as SAP BW. Okay, and the version was 2.0, and it released in the year 2000. Then again SAP BW 3.5, and it released in the year 2002. Then again SAP BI, okay, just renamed, rechristened the name to BI, Business Intelligence, and went to 7.0, and in the year 2006. Okay, then again SAP BW, again it reversed back to BW. Okay, then 7.3 2011. Then SAP BW again 7.4, and 2013 or 2014 beginning. Okay, so this is the chronological order of the BW BA. So BW BA, so which is the confusion. So no problem. Either way you can call it BW or BA. Now as part of the course, as the first thing, so the first class would be giving you a very basic introduction of what is a data warehouse. So actually this BWBA tool is called as a data warehousing tool. Okay, so what is a data warehousing tool? What is the purpose of it? What is the main advantage if I have a data warehouse? What is the disadvantage if you don't have a data warehouse? Usually you would be using these data warehousing tools in order to do the reporting in our organizations. Okay, for example, take the example of a Walmart. So Walmart is a store where number of customers, it's available, is a MNC company, multinational company, which has its existence in multiple countries. Okay, so every day thousands of customers would be coming to the store and purchasing some or other products. Okay, like this every month, every day, every month, every year, in different places of the world. Now the management is very happy with how the data is getting stored, all this stuff. Now they want to take some decisions basing on these business data or transactional data. They want to see, so as you are aware, this Walmart has exists in multiple countries, right? They want to find out in which country the revenue is very high. I mean, how they in which country the profits are very high, and in which country the revenues are very low. So basing on this business data, they want to take some decisions. They want to find out what is my monthly wise revenue, quarterly wise revenue, yearly wise revenue, country wise revenue, customer wise revenue, product wise revenue. Like this, they are having any number of questions in their mind. And these data warehousing tools will help them to solve or understand or get the required information in a very, very quick manner. Okay, in a beautiful graphical user interface manner also. So for example, my CEO is there. He wants to find out how is my company performing from the last 5 years, from 2010 to 2015. So he wants to have a chart which shows him the sales improvement percentage. So in 2010, what is the revenue? 2011, what is the revenue? What is the growth in the percentage? If what is the growth? If there is a loss in the revenue, what is the loss revenue? What is the loss percentage? Like this. So these data warehousing tools would be very handy. That is the reason most of the organizations, almost most of the organizations would be, they were what is called, will definitely have a plan to go with these data warehousing tools over there. Okay. So SAP BWBA is also one among them. Among, if I want to tell you among any other data warehousing tools, lots of tools are available in the market, like ClickView, SAP BO, SAP BODS, Informatica, okay, TIPCO Spotfire, Tableau, Cognos, IBM Data Stage, MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence, OBIEE, Oracle Business Integrator, Enterprise Edition. Lots of tools are available in the market. So in the first two classes, this is totally theoretical class. Okay, in this class I will be giving information about all of these things. Why should I learn BWBA only? Why can't I go and learn any other technology or any other similar kind of technology? Okay, what is the advantage I would be getting? What is the backend architecture these data warehousing tools would be using? What is the backend architecture where SAP BWBA using? How the communication would be happening? So with this step, it is not only specific to BWBA, the first two classes, but a common terminology. Okay. Once it is done, we are going to study about the focusing on the BWBA phases. So our BWBA is broadly divided into three phases: modeling plus extraction plus reporting. In the modeling, for example, here what is the main purpose of our SAP BWBA is? So usually there are some systems which are used to store the day-to-day business data. My duty as a BWBA consultant or a data warehousing consultant, my duty is to read the data from those systems and write into my data warehousing systems. Okay. Here my source systems are called as OLTP systems and my data warehousing tools are called as OLAP systems. So simple terms, my duty is to read the data from the OLTP systems and write into the OLAP systems and make the data available for reporting. That's the simple logic over here. Okay. Now I'll show you a simple data warehousing diagram, how it will look like. Yeah, so this is the way any data warehousing system will look like. In the bottom, we have the different source systems, or otherwise where the data is getting stored over here. Okay. In the middle, we have a data warehousing system. So this is called as ETL layer, where we contact these different systems, read the data, and make it available over here. And on top of it, we have the reporting systems. Okay. So we can use the same data for creating the reports, for creating the graphics, and creating the tables and analysis methods. If I want to show you in terms of SAP, how the SAP is doing it, so this is how the architecture of the BWBA or the structure of the BWBA. And whenever we approach any data warehousing solution, it should be a bottom-up approach. Okay. So in the bottom, we have the different source systems. In the bottom, we have the different source systems. So they can be anything, SAP applications, non-SAP applications. In the middle, this is called as the ETL layer. So these are the different layers where we are going to store our data: master data, PSA, persistent staging area, ODS, operational data store, info cube. So these are the different areas. And these yellow ones are nothing but the different engines which are responsible for loading the data, manipulating the data, saving the data, reading data, all this stuff. All the activities are doing with this activity. And on top of it, we have the reporting layer. So this OLAP processor will play a very vital role over here. So the duty of this OLAP processor is whenever any of the manager asks a question, like for example, I want to see my country-wise revenue, then this is a question, right? So the OLAP processor will pick up this question, get the answer from over here, okay, and show the answer over here. So it's a two-way communication. Read the question, get the answer, and show the answer to the reporting. And this entire layer is nothing but your reporting layer. So the advantage of learning the BWBA is we are getting the ETL knowledge as well as the reporting knowledge. Why? Because whenever we purchase SAP BWBA or whenever the organizations purchase the BWBA software, we are getting a default reporting tool called a Business Explorer. Okay, this is a default reporting tool of SAP BWBA. So here we need to understand the concept of the ETL concepts as well as the reporting concepts. And this is the workbench environment where we are going to develop all these things. Okay. Now go to the first slide which I have shown you. So our BWBA is broadly divided into three phases: modeling plus extraction plus reporting. For example, in my source system, there's a table called employee or a sales table. I want to do the reporting on top of the table. Okay. Then keeping in mind the table structure, I need to create some structures in the BWBA, and the entire phase is called as modeling. The entire phase is called as modeling. So once the structures are ready, then I need to fill those structures with the data, right? So that phase is called as extraction. Extraction means extracting the data, reading the data from the source system and writing into your BWBA system. And once the data is available over there, then we can do the reporting and analyze our data according to your own requirements. So somebody wants to analyze data from material point of view, customer point of view, calendar quarter point of view, calendar year point of view, whatever you wish, you can just make it up. Okay. So in the modeling, these are the different objects which we are going to cover actually. So info area, info object catalogs, all these different stuff. So since you are, this is only the first class, right? So you are a bit confused about all this terminology. But once we started the classes, okay, then you will be getting a thorough idea. So every day we are going to discuss, taking one of the topic and discuss in the class. Okay, so it's all about the modeling story. And we have a concept called info providers in the BWP. What are the info providers? Are nothing but these are the info provider stands for information providers. So these are the highest level objects in the BWBA. So if you want to do the reporting in the BWBA, you definitely need to store your data, save your data in one or either of these info providers. So depending on your requirement, you need to pick up one of these things. Okay. So here we going to understand what are all these different objects, when to consider which object, and store our data. And the latest version of the BW is 7.3 version. Okay. Recently also they had come with 7.4, but most of the organizations have not yet migrated themselves to 7.4. So most of the organizations are still in 7.34 only. Okay, so these are the new covered topics as part of the 7.3 version. Okay, we are going to cover these different topics over here. Now, here in the business content. So keeping in mind the different business requirement, what SAP has done was when it was manufacturing the product called SAP BW, it has created lots of predefined things. Okay, so using which you can generate your reports. Okay, like your wizard kind of environment, which should be definitely helping you to save a lot of development time. So the entire kind of activities are called as business content. Okay, now we have a concept called data extraction. So till this point of time, those are the different topics that are covered as part of the modeling. So what do you mean by modeling? Creating the structures according to the reporting requirements. Then, when it comes to data extraction, there are different methodologies given by the SAP to extract the data, which means to read the data from the source system and write into the target system. And these are the different methodologies we are going to cover. We going to cover about flat file extraction, there's business content extraction using master data, transaction data, with the different modules like sales and distribution, finance, okay, and the MM and the FI. So logistics extraction, like this, these are the different areas. Okay, now come down. So process change. So usually in my source system, the data is getting updated on regular intervals. So every day thousands of customers are coming to my store and purchasing some or other product. So I need to update my data on a day-to-day basis to my BWBA system also. Okay, in that case, we can take the help of a concept called process change. So process changes are used to automate your data loading process within the BWBA system. Okay. Now, transport system, transport mechanism. So usually in every project, not only SAP, but usually other projects also, since most of our guys are working with any of the other IT technologies, right, maybe Java, .NET, whatever it may be, we would be having three different environments. One is the development environment, one is the quality environment, and the last one is the production environment. So whenever we get a requirement, we'll do all the development activities in the development system. Okay. Then once it is done, we'd be having a small testing over here. Once we feel that everything is good, everything is working as expected by the requirement, then we will move the object to the quality system where thorough testing is done. Okay. So what does my quality system consist of? A copy of the production data, a copy of the real-time data. Okay. Once we feel that everything is fine, working fine. Okay. Then once we get the manager's approval, then we will move the objects to the production system. So what do I mean by production system? That is the place where the actual business data is getting stored. So when you execute a report on top of the production system, which means you are analyzing your real-time data, business real-time data. Okay. So in SAP also, we are going to follow the same kind of landscape that is called as SAP system landscape. So in order to move the system, in order to move the objects from one layer to another layer, the development to quality, quality to production, we are going to follow a mechanism called as transportation mechanism. So these are all about transport. Then once it is done, we are going to cover the reporting scenarios. So as I already told you, whenever we purchase, whenever we install the SAP in our system, we have a default reporting tool called as Business Explorer. Okay. So this is how the tool will look like. So when we install, if you are using a Windows version, then you can see a special folder called Business Explorer will be looking up over like this. And these are the different tools using which you generate your report. Out of these tools, we will be primarily using the Query Designer and Analyzer. Okay. So this Query Designer is used to design your queries, design your reports. Okay. And Analyzer is used to analyze your data. So these are the different objects using which you can design your queries. So lots of options according to your reporting requirements. Okay. Then we are done with the Analyzer part also. Once it is done, we are going to discuss a concept called performance improvement. Why? Because the performance improvement definitely comes into picture. Why? Because here my system, my data warehousing system holds too much of data. Why? Because every day thousands of customers are visiting my store. Every month it is counting to lakhs. Every year it is counting to millions and billions. So billions of records every year. But my data warehousing system is having last 5 years of data, which means you are having holding some billions of data in your system. So here reading the data from these billions is not an easy task. Okay, for example, one of my manager asked me, "Hey Vinay, could you please show me a report which shows me January 2015 revenue?" But my system is having 2010 to 2015 data. So every year has 12 months, right? So 12 into 5, 60 months. Out of the 60 months data, it needs to filter on the month of January 2015, pick up the data, and then show at the report level. So definitely not an easy task. So in order to overcome these problems, sometimes due to this vast amount of data, the reporting runtime would be slowed down. Okay, sometimes when I execute a report, it will take some 10 minutes, 15 minutes also, depending on the situation. So in order to overcome these problems, what SAP has done was come up with its different performance improvement techniques. Okay, that is the reason recently I heard a concept called SAP HANA, right? So when it comes to SAP BW, every customer was extremely satisfied with how the system is performing all this stuff, but except with the performance of the reporting. Okay, so SAP has done a lot of R&D and come up with its own database called as SAP HANA. So if you have the SAP HANA database in the backend, no need to improve the performance improvement techniques. No need to implement the performance improvement techniques. Why? Because HANA has a built-in feature which ensures that the reporting is done as fast as possible. Okay. In the beta testing of the product, it has found that it was able to read 4 billion records in just a fraction of a second. So you can expect how fast it is. Fast, light fastly. Okay. So excellent tool. That is the reason most of the organizations are now planning to migrate their any other database to HANA database. Okay. So that is about the HANA. Then once it is done, we are going to cover a concept called ABAP, SAP ABAP. So hope most of you guys have an understanding of ABAP over here. What is this ABAP actually? So ABAP stands for Advanced Business Application Programming. It is a programming language of SAP. All of the SAP applications like SAP ERP, SAP BW, okay, SAP CRM system, SAP SRM system, all of these systems are developed using this same programming language in the backend. Okay. Now, why we are talking about ABAP over here is every BW consultant, if these guys are having a knowledge of ABAP also, it would be a very good advantage. Why? Because in some areas of BW we are going to use the ABAP also. Okay. Okay. So most of the guys are looking for a job change, especially, or the guys who want to make a career in SAP BW. If you put the ABAP knowledge also in your CV or resume, definitely you would be given the first preference. For example, you gone for the interview. In that interview, 10 people came for the interview. Out of 10, 2 people have the skill set called SAP BW with ABAP. Okay, and the other one only BW. So you guys, the first 2 guys who are having the BW with ABAP would be given the first preference over here. If they are not satisfied with their performance, then only they are going to be the other single SAP BW consultants. So definitely a greater advantage. So usually also in every project, whatever we work, we would be having the ABAP team members also. But if we can do their work also by ourselves, definitely a great advantage. Okay, which is the reason I would be covering the ABAP course also. It's not that the entire course would be handled over here. Only the relevant part which is important for the BWBA course, we are going to cover over here. Okay. So these are the different ABAP techniques which we will be covering. Okay. So this is a brief introduction of our the training demo. What are the courses we are going to cover as part of the video. So the course is close to 40 to 45 hours, depending on how do you guys interact with me. And if it's a normal course, okay, day to day, then it will be for 1.5 hours every day, and it will be continued for the 30 days. Okay, and we will be providing you the entire set of material which I showed you earlier, okay, and we will be sharing the recordings on a day-to-day basis.